In New York, Las Vegas, and around the world, neon lights are going dark. They're being replaced by LEDs. Hi there, everyone. I'm Jeff, and this is Plain English, the best podcast to upgrade your English with current events and trending topics. When you listen to Plain English, you'll hear lots of new words you might not otherwise hear in English, and we go a little slower than native speed so you can understand every word. If this feels slow to you, don't worry. There's a fast version of the audio as well. You can listen to the fast version on the website at plainenglish.com/746. Every Monday and Thursday, we have a news story. And today's story is about the slow decline of neon lights. You've seen them, probably in bars, but also on the streets of the world's biggest cities. But these days, building owners are replacing the old neon-filled glass tubes with sleek, modern LED lights. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's what you'll learn about on today's story. And listen, you might want to read the transcript. If that would be helpful, you can find the transcript at plainenglish.com/746. You can also check out the quiz and practice exercises while you're there. That's all thanks to our producer, JR. plainenglish.com/746. Before we start today's story, I'd just like to remind you that the podcast is just one part of how we can help you upgrade your English skills. At plainenglish.com, you can make faster progress with active learning strategies. You can take quizzes, do activities, listen to the fast version of the audio, watch video workshops, practice what you learn, and even join a live call with JR and me. It's all about helping you build your skills to become a better, more confident English speaker. Sound good? Go to plainenglish.com to start your free 14-day trial today. Now, let's jump into today's story. In 1963, a band called The Drifters released a song called On Broadway. The first line is, "They say the neon lights are bright on Broadway." That song was originally released on an LP, a record. And just as vinyl records have faded in popularity, so too have the neon lights the Drifters sang about. The lights you see around Broadway today are much more likely to be LED than neon. Neon signs are part of the visual identity of some of the world's great cities. They're synonymous with urban nightlife, entertainment, and commerce. They started to appear in the early 20th century. A century in which cities modernized and living standards rose. Neon signs adorn the casinos of Las Vegas, the Broadway theaters in New York, Piccadilly Circus in London, the shops of Nathan Road in Hong Kong, and the Moulin Rouge Cabaret in Paris. But little by little, the owners of neon signs are replacing them with cheaper LED lights. One historian estimates that between 1923 and 1956, New York City issued permits for 75,000 outdoor neon signs. Only about 130 are left today. Just this year, New York lost two of its most famous neon signs. Owners of the Apollo Theater in Harlem and Rockefeller Center in Midtown Manhattan have gotten approval to replace their neon signs from 1934 and 1935, respectively. If you've ever watched the comedy show Saturday Night Live, you've seen the neon sign that says NBC Studios at the entrance to Rockefeller Center. So why are building owners removing their neon signs? 2 words: cost and complexity. A neon sign is made of glass tubes, bent and shaped to form letters or drawings. The tubes are filled with inert gases, either neon or argon. Electrodes, small pieces of metal, are attached to the ends of the tubes. When the sign is turned on, electricity flows through the tubes. The electricity activates the atoms in the gas, producing light. Pure neon produces a red-orange glow, but by mixing different gases and coatings on the tubes, designers can produce different colors. The most popular are blue, violet, green, white, yellow, and pink. As you can imagine, a neon sign needs maintenance. Tubes can crack or break. If that happens, they need to be replaced. The light dims over time as the gas leaks out, so the neon needs to be recharged periodically. Wiring and connections can corrode or fail. When it does come time to make repairs, building owners don't have many options. Repairing neon glass tubes is a dying art. It can be hard to find a skilled person to repair a vintage sign. By contrast, LED signs have many advantages. They are cheaper to make and cheaper to operate. LED bulbs last 5 to 10 times longer than neon tubes, and they require less energy to run. There's a much greater color range, and they can be used much more flexibly. Since LED lights are cheap, owners can afford to change the words or designs much more frequently. Disposing of LED lights is simpler too. There are no hazardous chemicals to worry about. LEDs can be made to look like neon signs. The lettering in the new NBC Studios sign is formed into tubes, just like the lettering in the old neon sign. From a distance, and in photos, they look similar. But they are not the same. Neon signs produce a warm, glowing light with slight variations within their glass tubes. This is because the gas inside emits light in soft gradients. LED signs can mimic neon, but they produce a brighter and more uniform shine. Neon signs have handcrafted imperfections that make them feel retro and unique. Preservationists and historians mourn the loss of neon. The glow of neon represents a time when cities had a distinct, handcrafted charm, a contrast to the mass-produced displays that we see everywhere today. Losing neon signs means losing not only their warm light, but also a link to the time in which they first appeared. In the U.S., owners are required to preserve facades and other structural elements of landmark buildings, even if they modernize certain other parts of the building. Preservationists argue that building owners should be required to preserve their neon signs just like they are required to preserve other elements of historical significance. But so far, neon signs have not been given the same protected status as other parts of the building. So in the end, it's up to building owners. And building owners are business owners. They have a bottom line to think about, and many have made the business decision to switch to LED to save money and simplify their maintenance. Many, but not all. Some building owners have decided to keep their neon, even to invest in it. Around the corner from NBC Studios is perhaps the most famous example of neon signage in all of New York, the Radio City Music Hall. The owners of that building recently replaced all the neon tubing in that famous sign, all 10,000 feet of it. Huge red and yellow letters, 10 stories high, spell out Radio City Music Hall. You can see it for many blocks up and down 6th Avenue. Those closer up can admire the street-level sign that wraps around the corner of the building at 50th Street and 6th Avenue. I read one person who said that neon is like listening to music on a record, but LED is like listening to streaming. Just like you would never invent vinyl records today, you would never invent neon signs today. Blowing and curving glass, filling it with gas, turning on the electricity, and doing all that maintenance. But it's a part of history, and if we don't preserve it, then we'll never have it again. So if you go to New York, look at the Radio City sign, and then look across 50th Street at the new NBC Studios sign, and tell me if you can notice a difference. That's all for us here at Plain English. This was episode number 746. So remember, the transcript, quiz, exercises, and translations are all at plainenglish.com/746. We'll be back on Thursday with a new episode. We'll kick off a theme for the month of February, too. We're going to do 3 episodes this month about types of words in English, and we're going to start on Thursday with a selection of words taken directly from Latin. The episode won't be in Latin, but we'll talk about how Latin terms have made it into English. That's on Thursday. See you then. Listen up if you speak Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, or Turkish. One of the most frustrating things about listening and reading in a second language is being confused by unfamiliar words or phrases. When you listen to Plain English, or when you read the transcript, you probably encounter some words you don't know. When that happens, you have a few options. You can stop the audio, go look up the definition, then return to the episode, find your place, and press play again, but that's exhausting. Or you can just skip it and be confused. That's no fun either. But what if you could see the translation of the word into your language instantly without having to stop the audio, without having to look anything up? Well, you can at plainenglish.com. For each episode, we translate about 100 words and phrases from English to 9 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, and Turkish. And we highlight those words in blue. All you have to do is hover your mouse over the highlighted word and you will see the translation instantly. It works great on mobile too. It really makes listening a lot more satisfying, and it's a great way to expand your vocabulary in English. The best way to see these translations is to sign up for a free 14-day trial at PlainEnglish.com. During your trial, you can read as many transcripts as you like, all with the translations into your language. So sign up for your free trial today at PlainEnglish.com.